My brothers and sisters, there are names that echo through history, names that are not written in gold, but engraved in hearts, names that do not fade with time, because they were written with sincerity, courage, and faith. And one such name is Hazrat Hamza ibn Abdul Muttalib Asadullah, the Lion of Allah. Before Islam, he was a warrior known for his strength and pride, but after Islam, he became a warrior for truth, a defender of the Prophet, and a symbol of unshakable belief. He was not just a lion on the battlefield. He was a lion in his faith. He fought not for fame, but for Allah. He lived not for applause, but for the pleasure of his Creator. Hazrat Hamza was not just a warrior, he was a force that shook the battlefield with his courage, faith, and unwavering loyalty to Allah and His Messenger. When the banner of Islam was raised, and the enemies of truth came forward with their arrogance and pride, Hazrat Hamza did not see armies or numbers, he saw only the call of Allah, and that was enough for him to step forward without hesitation. His bravery was not born from ego or a desire for fame, but from the deep conviction that he was fighting for a cause greater than life itself. In the Battle of Badr, the first major confrontation between truth and falsehood, Hazrat Hamza stood at the front lines. The believers were few, their weapons limited, and their resources scarce, but their faith was stronger than any sword. And at the center of that faith stood Hamza, a symbol of power, determination, and divine confidence. With his green feather on his chest, he became the heartbeat of the battlefield. His voice echoed across the desert, his steps inspired those who feared, and his strikes reminded the enemies that no weapon could defeat the strength that came from belief. Every blow he struck was not for himself, but for the dignity of Islam. When he fought, he carried not just a sword, he carried the message of La ilaha illallah. His courage made the weak feel strong, and his presence turned fear into faith. Even the enemies of Islam acknowledged his bravery, for they saw in him a warrior who did not fight for worldly gain, but for the truth of his Creator. His valor was more than physical strength, it was spiritual power. He fought knowing that victory does not come from numbers but from Allah. He faced death with serenity, for he knew that the true life begins when one dies for a just cause. Hazrat Hamza became the roaring lion of Badr, a name that would forever echo in the hearts of believers as a reminder that when faith takes over fear, even a single man can shake the battlefield. His bravery was not just in his sword, it was in his soul. Before embracing Islam, Hazrat Hamza was known in Makkah as one of the most respected and fearless men of the Quraysh. He was a man of honor, courage, and prestige, a skilled hunter, a warrior admired for his strength, and a nobleman whose presence commanded respect. Yet, like many in the early days of ignorance, his life was centered on tribal pride, social standing, and the glory that came from lineage and reputation. He was loved by his people, but his heart was yet to discover its true purpose to serve the one who created him. Everything changed the day he heard that Abu Jahl had insulted and humiliated the Prophet Muhammad. At that time, Hamza was returning from a hunting trip, his bow still in his hand. When a woman told him what had happened, the fire of anger ignited within him, not just because his nephew had been wronged, but because deep down something within him recognized the truth of the Prophet's message. Without hesitation, he marched to the Kaaba, surrounded by the chiefs of Quraysh, and struck Abu Jahl with his bow, declaring, "How dare you insult Muhammad when I follow his religion?" That declaration changed everything. In a single moment, Hamza went from being a proud warrior of Quraysh to a humble servant of Allah. It was as though Allah himself had unlocked the truth within his heart. The pride that once fueled his strength now transformed into a divine purpose to defend Islam, to protect the messenger, and to dedicate his life to the service of the Almighty. His faith was not gradual, it was powerful, complete, and fearless. From the very beginning, he stood tall among the believers, unashamed of his Islam, unafraid of mockery or threat. The same strength that once defined his worldly power now became the sword of his spiritual devotion. He no longer fought for his tribe or reputation, he fought for the truth. In Hazrat Hamza we witness the beauty of transformation, how Allah can take a man of pride and turn him into a man of purpose. His story teaches that true honor is not in status or strength, but in surrendering to the truth when it reaches your heart. After embracing Islam, Hazrat Hamza became one of the most steadfast defenders of the Prophet Muhammad. His love for the Messenger of Allah was not limited to words, it was written in his actions, his courage, and his sacrifices. From the moment he declared his faith, he made it clear to the Quraysh that anyone who dared to harm the Prophet would face him first. He stood as a shield between the messenger and the cruelty of the disbelievers, ready to bear any pain, to fight any battle, and to endure any hardship for the sake of protecting the truth. In Makkah, when the believers were weak and oppressed, his presence gave them strength. The moment Hazrat Hamza embraced Islam, the enemies of the Prophet began to hesitate. They knew that the uncle of Muhammad was no ordinary man, he was a lion whose courage no one could challenge. His acceptance of Islam brought confidence to the Muslims, and for the first time, the Prophet and his companions could openly worship near the Kaaba without fear. Hazrat Hamza's faith had given the small community of believers a new sense of protection and honor. He loved the Prophet deeply, not merely as a nephew, but as the messenger of Allah, the chosen one. When the Prophet faced insult, Hamza responded with strength. When the Prophet faced danger, Hamza stood before him like a mountain. His sword was not drawn for revenge, but for the defense of truth. His loyalty was so pure that he never asked questions when the Prophet called. He answered. When he commanded, he obeyed. On the battlefield, he placed himself at the front lines so that no harm would reach the Prophet. His bravery was a reflection of his love. He did not see himself as a hero, but as a servant of the messenger. His strength came from faith, and his purpose was to protect the one through whom Allah had sent guidance to humanity. Hazrat Hamza embodied the meaning of devotion. He became the Prophet's shield not only in battle but in belief, protecting his message, defending his mission, and showing the world that true love for the Prophet is proven through sacrifice, courage, and unwavering loyalty. Hazrat Hamza earned the title Asadullah, the Lion of Allah, and Asad Rasulillah, the Lion of the Messenger of Allah, through his unmatched valor, sincerity, and unwavering devotion on the battlefield. His courage was not an act of pride but a manifestation of faith, a reflection of a heart that feared none but Allah. Every time he stepped onto the battlefield, it was not for glory or conquest, but to defend the message of truth, to protect the Prophet, and to uphold the honor of Islam. His strength came from conviction, his bravery from belief, and his roar from remembrance of Allah. During the Battle of Badr, when the Muslims faced their first major confrontation with the Quraysh, Hazrat Hamza stood among the few believers who had complete trust in Allah's promise. The enemy was greater in number, stronger in weapons, and arrogant in confidence. Yet Hamza faced them with serenity and power. Wearing a green feather on his chest to distinguish himself, he moved like a lion among the ranks of the disbelievers. His every strike was purposeful, his every move driven by faith. Those who witnessed him said his courage inspired the Muslims and terrified the Quraysh. He understood that victory does not come through the strength of the arm, but through the strength of the heart that trusts in Allah. His presence in Badr changed the tide of the battle, and his leadership reminded the believers that true warriors are those whose hearts beat with hikr. He fought not for the spoils of war, not for recognition, but because he knew that defending Islam was defending the truth sent by the Creator himself. His courage did not end at Badr. At Uhud, he once again stood at the forefront, roaring against the forces of disbelief. Though he knew that martyrdom awaited many that day, he did not retreat or hesitate. His bravery was a declaration that faith is not a word we speak, but a life we live. The Prophet loved him deeply and wept upon his martyrdom, saying there was no one more beloved to him than Hamza. Indeed, his title as the Lion of Allah and his Messenger was not given by men, it was earned through the purity of his heart and the strength of his devotion. The Battle of Uhud was one of the most painful and testing moments in the early history of Islam. It was there that Hazrat Hamza the Lion of Allah, met his martyrdom, a death that shook the Prophet and left a lasting mark on the hearts of believers. He fought that day with the same strength, courage, and faith that had defined his entire life. His sword flashed with purpose, his voice carried the remembrance of Allah, and his heart was filled with certainty that every step he took was for the sake of his Lord. He did not see an army before him, he saw an opportunity to defend the truth. On that battlefield, the disbelievers came in large numbers, seeking revenge for their defeat at Badr. The Muslims, though fewer, stood firm. Hazrat Hamza was at the front lines, striking down the enemies of Islam with power and precision. His presence filled the believers with courage. He fought not with anger, but with sincerity, not for blood, but for the light of faith. Each swing of his sword was a statement of devotion that no worldly force could overpower the one whose trust was in Allah. Yet destiny had written that this great warrior would be honored with martyrdom on that very day. He was struck by an arrow and then attacked by Washi, who had been hired to kill him. Hazrat Hamza fell, but he fell as a hero, as a believer, as a servant of Allah. His body lay wounded, but his soul rose to the highest ranks of paradise. When the Prophet found his uncle's body, his heart broke with sorrow. Tears flowed from his blessed eyes as he said, "There has never been a loss more painful to me than the loss of Hamza." Even in his death, Hazrat Hamza became a symbol of eternal strength. His martyrdom was not the end, it was the beginning of his legacy. The believers learned through him that true victory is not always survival, but sacrifice. His name continues to echo through time as a reminder that when a person gives their life for Allah, they do not die. They live on in the hearts of the faithful and in the reward of the hereafter. The legacy of Hazrat Hamza is not just one of bravery on the battlefield, it is a timeless lesson in faith, transformation, and unwavering devotion to Allah and His Messenger. His story continues to inspire every believer who faces trials, doubts, or fear. He reminds us that true strength is not measured by the power of the body, but by the steadfastness of the heart. His life stands as proof that when a person dedicates their strength to Allah, they rise above worldly limitations and become a source of inspiration for generations to come. Hazrat Hamza teaches us that courage begins in the heart. It begins when a person recognizes truth and commits to it, regardless of the cost. Before Islam, he was a respected warrior and nobleman, but his greatness truly began the moment he submitted to Allah. His transformation from pride to purpose is a reminder that every believer has the potential to change, to rise, and to redefine what true honor means. His story tells us that no matter how strong or successful we may be, our real worth lies in using our gifts to serve the path of righteousness. He also teaches us the meaning of loyalty. His love and dedication to the Prophet were unmatched. He stood by him when the world turned away, defended him when others stayed silent, and sacrificed everything to protect his mission. His loyalty was not based on blood or tribe, but on belief, a loyalty born from recognizing the light of prophethood and the truth of revelation. In every generation, his devotion serves as a reminder that faith is not just a belief in words, but a bond that is proven through action, sacrifice, and consistency. The legacy of Hazrat Hamza continues to live on in the hearts of those who strive for justice and truth. His courage gives strength to the oppressed, his faith gives hope to the struggling, and his sacrifice reminds us that the path to Jannah is paved with sincerity and patience. Every believer who reads his story feels the call to rise to become a defender of faith, a bearer of truth, and a soul that stands firm for Allah no matter the cost. Such is the power of a legacy rooted in faith, one that never fades, but continues to ignite hearts till the end of time. My brothers and sisters, as we reflect on the life of Hazrat Hamza the Lion of Allah and His Messenger, we are reminded that true greatness is not in titles, wealth, or worldly success. It is in faith that stands firm when the world trembles, in courage that rises for truth, and in hearts that live and die for the pleasure of Allah. Hazrat Hamza was not just a warrior on the battlefield, he was a warrior of belief, a servant of Allah, and a protector of his messenger. His journey from pride to purpose, from strength to submission, teaches us that Allah can transform anyone who sincerely seeks His truth. His story is not just history, it is a mirror for our own lives. Each of us faces battles, everyday battles against our ego, our temptations, our fears, and our doubts. The question is, will we face them like Hamza did, with faith, conviction, and courage? He fought with a sword, but we fight with patience, integrity, and steadfastness. His battlefield was Uhud. Ours may be life itself, but the mission remains the same, to stand firm for Allah, no matter the odds. When we speak of Hazrat Hamza, we speak of loyalty that never wavered, love that never faded, and strength that never failed. The Prophet wept for him, but he also honored him because Hamza's life was not lost. It was elevated. His martyrdom became a reminder that those who live for Allah never truly die. They continue to inspire the hearts of the faithful till the end of time. So today, let the roar of Hazrat Hamza awaken something within us, the roar of faith, the roar of truth, the roar that stands tall against every form of darkness. Let his story remind us that every believer, no matter how ordinary, can become extraordinary when their heart beats for Allah alone. May Allah grant us hearts as strong as Hamza's, faith as unshakable as his, and the honor to defend his truth in every moment of our lives. And may we too leave behind a legacy that echoes not in power, but in purpose, not in fame, but in faith.